September 10th, 1990.
Describe to me what this area looked like in 1990.
In 1990, first of all, you wouldn't have this median we're sitting here. This was a little two-lane dead-end road.
County Road 101 east of Highway 288 in Manville. Looked a lot different back then. 3,000 people lived here. Compare that to the more than 10,000 now. There were no homes along this stretch, just cows and a passing car now and then. That day, a man happened to pull over to relieve himself on the side of that quiet road and nearly walked into a pile of bones.
This had been a place where someone thought, I could dump a body here.
It'd be a perfect spot for it because there was nothing out here.
The man and his wife called police. Matt Wingo was one of the first to show up.
I remember the tire. I remember her skull being under the tire. I remember her being disarticulated and everywhere, which is what it's going to be when you're out in the country.
In 1990, Wingo was a Brazoria County Sheriff's deputy. He's retired now, but nearly 30 years later, he sees that crime scene in his mind.
You've seen so many things that you don't have the same emotion. You got to, yeah, it bothers you, but it's not something that you take home and have to live with.
She was somebody's daughter.
Yeah.
She was somebody's sister.
Yeah, it's hard to, I've tried explaining this to other people over the years. I had a woman ask me one time, which case has most likely caused you the greatest PTSD? I said, I don't have PTSD. I said, none of them bother me. I mean, that's what I'm supposed to do. That's my job.
Wingo and the detectives collected the bones, collected the jewelry. No purse, no ID, no clothing, no hair found around the skeleton. Days later, the autopsy didn't reveal much. It was unclear how the woman died. There were no drugs in her system. She had a couple of fractured ribs. She was likely between 15 and 19 years old. Who was she? Police put the word out asking for help identifying a woman with a turquoise unicorn ring and a pearl bracelet. The case got a little attention, but went cold fast. 16 years later, a curious detective literally reopened the evidence envelope and made a startling discovery, something previous detectives missed. Among the rings collected, a class ring from a Houston high school, Robert E. Lee, 1975, carved on the side, a big blue sapphire in the middle.
The stone that's inside of it, that blue stone, is the reason that they called her, that they named her Princess Blue.
Now she had a name and then a face. A sketch artist studied Princess Blue's bones and drew this. DNA advances showed them she was white, but had African-American ancestry, maybe a black mother or grandmother. She also could have been as old as 21. Investigators were getting somewhere. They honed in on that ring. What was her connection to Lee High School? Long gone were the records of students who bought a ring in 1975. There were about 650 in that graduating class.
Alex, that's me right there.
Alex Johnson was a year ahead.
Lee in the 70s was a pretty stereotypical suburban high school.
The football players, the choir kids, the dance team, sure, there were cliques, but everyone seemed to get along, Johnson says. The big classes felt small.
So I wouldn't say I knew everybody, but I did know a lot of people.
Johnson doesn't recognize Princess Blue, and neither do his classmates. He remembers when police contacted dozens of them 13 years ago, asking, was this a daughter, a niece, a cousin, a girlfriend? Hundreds of alumni were interviewed.
You hear about all the time people, class rings turning up and being returned to their owners, right? Well, here's a class ring that's turned up. If we could return it to its owner, we could solve this mystery of this girl.
Why do you think people latched onto this class ring?
I think because it is a personal item. It was something that could possibly be linked back to someone. A lot of focus was put on the ring, and maybe some focus could have been put on other areas.
So that's what new investigators are doing. More than a decade after Princess Blue attracted attention from all over the country, nearly 3 decades after she was found, Detective Anthony Meschel is tackling the case from a different perspective. You've shifted from let's look at the class ring route to let's look at the hard DNA.
Right. We're going to look at the facts. The class ring was found, all these rings were found near the body. but we can't prove that this class ring really had anything to do with this person.
Princess Blue's bones are going back to the lab. Meshel, hoping there's enough DNA for phenotyping. Maybe you've heard of it. It's been in the news a lot lately, helping to solve cold cases. It's a process that can tell police Princess Blue's eye, hair, skin color, whether or not she has freckles, plus her genetic ancestry.
And they're all excited. Everybody from the forensics office is excited. The lady that drew these pictures, she was really excited.
How likely is it, do you think, you're going to solve this case?
I think it's got a good, with today's DNA and the labs that we have, I think it's got a pretty good chance. And one of my hopes is that when we do this phenotyping and we get another sketch of this person, that somebody will recognize her. That would be the ultimate.
Yeah, it's important who she is.
This retired detective waits for that day. Matt Wingo chased countless leads, interviewed suspects, and still, he never figured out who this girl was. And her killer is out there.
Who did it is most important, because he's going to do it again unless you catch him.
Princess Blue was somebody's daughter, maybe somebody's sister. Somebody missed her. And that's what keeps Detective Meshel pushing, working.
To stand here and know this is where your case begins, what is that like?
Brings a sense of reality to it. Brings it to heart, you might say.
He won't stop until he knows her name. There's always hope these cases will be solved. It's hard to find hope here, though. Drive back up I-45 and you hit the stretch of interstate that's been dubbed Highway to Hell. Since the 70s, the bodies of close to 30 women have been dumped in these fields. Most of them victims, young girls abducted, raped, murdered. Their deaths linked to notorious serial killers. But for these 5 women, memorialized by crosses, their murders were never solved. For years, detectives didn't have a clue who some of them even were.
Now, a huge break in one of these cases, thanks to an unrelenting detective who refused to see another Jane Doe forgotten.
There's something about handwritten letters, the way the author crosses her T's and dots her I's, loopy, leaning cursive, stories spilling out line after line. The past put on a page forever, a window into the world of a daughter who lived in Houston, far from her parents. Dear Mom and Dad, how are you all doing? We are fine. It's been hot here since the rain has stopped. One day last week it was 100 degrees. Audrey Lee Cook writes about a frustrating boss, a rainy afternoon, a new friend. I got me a kitten. He's black and I call him Caesar. Life was ordinary for Audrey Lee.
She was a teenager and had a motorcycle, went camping with their family, just very happy.
Ordinary until Christmas 1985, when the letters home stopped.
She was enjoying her life, and someone took that joy from her. Her mother, our whole family. They took her from us.
You just can't tell about people these days, Audrey writes in one of her final messages. Well, I guess I'll close for now. We love y'all very much. Love always, Audrey Lee.
You know, the time just began to get further and further away, and not wanting to think the worst. And the years just began to click away, thinking, well, she's gone with her life.
Audrey Lee vanished. Her mother in Tennessee thought her free-spirited 30-year-old daughter on a motorcycle just wanted to do her own thing. But Audrey would never abandon the family, Aunt Shirley Love says.
I began to search, you know, after about a year, thinking this is just not like her, you know, and I began to search. And when the internet came along, you know, I could search better.
Shirley tracked down old landlords in Channelview and Houston, Audrey's old boss at a balloon party store, the roommate Audrey moved to Texas with 9 years earlier. Dead end after dead end, 10 years went by, then 20.
My personality's not one to give up.
What Shirley didn't know is that Audrey Lee had been found dead, murdered, 2 months after sending her last letter. Audrey's family never got a call because police didn't know it was Audrey. February 2nd, 1986, 2 children playing in the woods near a dirt bike trail found a body of a 16-year-old girl not far from Calder Road. These are photos from the crime scene, never seen by the public. That teen was identified as Laura Miller, who had been missing for 17 months. The story had been big news in League City. What many people didn't know is that the very same day, laying a few feet from Laura Miller, detectives found Audrey Lee's decomposed body. Police called her Jane Doe. She had no ID. She had been shot in the back, a few of her ribs broken.
I think she just kind of got pushed aside, and that's not right. It's not fair. These are just a good idea of what was found out on Calder Road.
Detectives collected items nearby, hoping something could help them figure out who this woman was. Everything photographed. Business cards, keys, shoes, hair. But it was hard to tell what was evidence and what was just trash. For 33 years, investigators tried to identify Audrey Lee, and more than 500 miles away in Memphis, Audrey's family wondered, where was she?
In the 33 years that I looked for her, there was probably never a 6-month period of time that I was not doing something, looking for her, searching for her.
50 people are missing from the Houston area. Women under 35 make up 1/3 of that number. You've never heard of most of them because their stories don't make headlines. They are mothers and daughters and sisters and wives. Hope Ann Moore disappeared 21 years ago, leaving behind a husband who detectives think knows more than he's letting on. Princess Blue, the woman with no name, just bones and a glass ring. Someone missed her. Someone knows what happened. Audrey Lee Cook, murdered and dumped in the infamous Texas killing fields. When no one cares, these missing women go unreported, and the cases go unsolved.
When Hope Ann Moore vanished, it didn't make news. Hope used to live here in Galveston along the water. Hope's house is gone now. At the time, her husband told police she probably ran off, but Hope's little boy knew his mother would never leave him.
The bay side of Galveston is quiet, peaceful, away from the bustling Strand and flip-flop wearing tourists. On Channelview Drive, there used to be a house on stilts where Hope Ann Moore lived with Clint Kent. Her common law husband of 4 years. Hope's past wasn't perfect. Trouble with drugs, drinking, and partying, but the 32-year-old mother was trying to change. She had a steady job at a car dealership, passed drug tests to keep it, and had just gotten a raise.
She was a really good worker. I mean, she did everything we asked her to do there. Wasn't not complaining, no complaints at all.
James Cabarrubio was Hope's former boss and the last person to see her in public. Monday, April 26, 1999. Hope didn't show up for work. She'd never done that before. The next day,
Clint shows up and he tells me that, she just won't be back. Here's her keys. And I thought it was weird, so I just thought about it for a while, and I said I decided I better call and tell somebody.
Cabarrubio waited another day. Still no hope. He called police.
She's not coming back. Now that should make the hair on the back of your neck stand up. She's not coming back.
In '99, Hope's story wasn't front page news. A missing woman with a messy past. The case went cold. Detective Fred Page, now retired, picked up her case nearly a decade after Hope disappeared.
No one's pure as the driven snow, and Hope wasn't. But she was a true victim in this.
The more Page dug, the more he believed she's not just missing.
If anybody knows what happened to Hope Ann Moore, it's Clint. If there's the best suspect in this case is Scotty, no doubt about it.
Okay, introductions. I'm Detective Fred Page.
Scotty Kent, Clint's older brother. In 2009, he agreed to talk to Page.
And we're here today to talk about a missing person report.
These are the never-before-seen tapes.
In the week leading up before she went missing, she left work twice since she was having problems at home with her husband.
You see, I never seen her and Clint fight.
Scotty was living with Hope and Clint in that house on the bay when she vanished. Scotty says on Saturday, April 24th, Hope left mad with her checkbook in a truck with a man Scotty didn't know.
How come you guys didn't call the police?
We didn't think she was gone. We just thought she was on another one of her drug trips. It ain't the first time she's disappeared.
8 days after Scotty last saw Hope, he pawned 2 ladies' gold rings at this Easy Cash. Here are the receipts Page found a decade later. And there's this check made out to Scotty Kent from Hope, dated the day before he says she disappeared. $345.52, the exact amount in Hope's bank account to the penny. Handwriting tests later proved Hope's signature may have been forged.
Why would she close out her account and give the money to Scotty Kent?
Well, I don't know. That's what I'm saying.
Did you ever ask Scotty?
Well, I never even knew about this. So I don't know. I don't know if she owed him money. I don't know if she borrowed money.
Isn't that kind of bizarre?
Yeah.
Clint, Hope's common-law husband, also talked to Page a decade later.
They spared no opportunity to trash Hope's character.
Clint was visiting his parents in Buffalo, Texas when Hope went missing. Before he left Galveston, Clint says he tampered with Hope's truck. He didn't want her leaving home.
Yeah, she was getting back into the drugs.
What do you mean she couldn't take it?
Because I took the fuse out, so she couldn't take it. She tried to take my other truck, too.
You think your brother killed her?
Hell no. I know better. There's no way. He's got a gentle heart just like me. I know, no, there's no way. Clint, let me put it this way. About my little brother, he's got the heart of a child, and he'd never do anything like that.
But, he leaves town. The day she goes up, and then all of a sudden she disappears.
He left before I did, and then I left. And
she has not cashed a check. She has not ever got a job.
Yes, sir.
She has never been seen or got a ticket or nothing.
Yes.
After you last saw her.
Yes. I mean, when you told me that on the phone, too. And
she just has dropped off the face of the earth. Or she was killed.
I don't think she was killed. I think she just hiding something.
I think she's dead.
I really don't, to be honest with you.
You think she's hiding?
Well, I don't know if she's hiding, but it's hard to say with her.
It's just disturbing when you look at this stuff, but it all goes back to, what can you prove? We got to find her body. That's the starting point, and we never have.
I want to know what happened.
Hope's son, Mike,
For her sake, my family's sake.
was 11 when his mother disappeared. He lives in League City now, works on custom cars, has a lot of time to think about the past. Mike says Clint, his stepfather, told him Hope walked out.
I remember feeling angry. I guess kind of hurt, but maybe at the same time kind of relieved.
Mike says Hope wasn't the best mom, that she was abusive at times.
She was just a very angry person.
And Clint watched out for him.
No matter what she did, to me, she's still my mom. And she deserves this.
I have been studying the case, learning the case.
She deserves not to be forgotten. That's what Detective Michelle Sullenberger thinks.
This is all Fred's stuff.
She's the third investigator looking through the evidence file.
This is probably the most difficult case that I've ever encountered because I have a gut feeling leading me in one direction, but I just can't prove it yet. I really strongly believe that Hope was murdered. I believe that there was a cover-up with her live-in boyfriend and his brother. I believe that they lied to the children. I think that they lied to the families. And then they went on with their life.
We made numerous attempts to contact both Clint and Scotty Kent. They did not want to participate in this story.
Between her being missing and him being a suspect, I don't know what to think. It's a lot to deal with and take in.
Have you completely exonerated your brother from having anything to do with Hope's?
Yeah, I don't think my brother did anything.
I guarantee, if you know what happened to Hope, and you're protecting someone you love and
Oh, I'm
care
not.
about, but just hear me out, that, you know, it's never too late to step forward and do the right thing. It's never too late.
What do you think happened to her?
Honestly, I'm not quite sure.
If you were gonna kill Hope, what would you do with her body?
Never even thought about it.
If you did kill somebody living out there on Channelview, what would you do with her body? Because the whole key to this is finding her body.
Right.
You know?
And like I said, I really don't know. I mean, with me, I've never killed anybody before and don't even want to think about it.
Yeah.
I want him to come in. I want an opportunity to speak with him face to face myself, get my own read, get my own perspective, and ask him some questions.
Hope's story isn't going away. Sullenberger says she'll make sure of it.
So I really do hope she's still alive, because that would settle a lot of things, I mean, in my opinion. But like I said, only time will tell.
Time. It can hurt and it can help. Time, after all, is one of the reasons why these cases are unsolved. A year turns into 5 years, turns into a decade, and it gets harder and harder for investigators to generate new leads. But detectives quietly keep working.
They work for the women whose stories are forgotten because in some cases, the families don't even know their loved one is dead. 30 years ago, a woman's bones were found along a gravel road. No purse, no ID, just bones and a high school class ring. Detectives thought that ring would be the key to solving this case, but investigators quickly realized the truth lies in the DNA.
There are stories behind the jewelry we wear. Jewelry can be so personal, so special. A delicate pearl bracelet, a diamond band, 3 small silver rings, a unicorn with turquoise stones. A girl loved and treasured.
And they use that because
Then in 2016, Detective Gina Vogel, working cold cases, learned about DNA technology that could produce a picture of what their Jane Doe looked like when she was alive.
they were getting good results from it. So I thought it's worth a shot.
Tex extracted new DNA from the bones more than 3 decades old. A company called Parabon produced this picture. They had a face now, a girl with a gap in her smile. It circulated on the news in Houston and in Memphis. By then, Vogel had discovered her Jane Doe's ties to Tennessee. Vogel also entered the new genetic info into online genealogy databases. The FBI started helping with the case, and then Vogel got a call that changed everything. A federal agent found a first cousin with the last name Cook. The DNA matched.
You know, it still gives me goosebumps. So it was years and years of work. I mean, just years of work, and I put a lot into those family trees, and it was just following that family tree down to finally figuring out who she was and giving her name was huge.
The same week, Vogel worked the internet tracking down different cooks. Shirley in Memphis saw a cold case story about an unidentified girl with a gap-toothed smile killed in Texas. She picked up the phone and called Lead City Police.
I mean, I just knew that it was her. The more I read, it was like chills just went from the top of my head to my toes.
Jane Doe was Audrey Lee Cook.
Bittersweet. I don't know how else to describe it because it's, you know, for us on our end it's exciting, but you know, they're reliving all of that information and all of that tragedy again, and they never knew what happened to her. They were holding on hope that she was just still out there living her life and doing her own thing.
After Vogel gave Shirley some of the closure she had been hoping for, Shirley gave Vogel Audrey's letters, the words and stories she treasured for 33 years.
What is it like to read these letters and hear her voice?
Yeah, I wish I could hear her voice. You know, I have an idea what she sounds like in my head.
Vogel read them over and over, trying to piece together names and details of Audrey's life in the weeks before she was murdered. The letters are vague and happy, but Vogel says Audrey had gotten into drugs, started mixing with a bad crowd. Still,
nobody deserves to be left in a field. Nobody deserves to be killed. Nobody deserves to be, you know, managed like that. I have daughters, and I can't imagine what her parents went through, not knowing. I think that's probably the worst thing, is just not knowing.
Audrey's mother died before finding out what happened to her daughter, but Audrey Lee did come home.
I took her home. We flew home. It was, you know, her last flight home, so.
When she handed me, you know, her remains there in the parking lot at the funeral home, all I could do was just hold them. And think that she was finally at home. And to put her to rest beside her mother. It wasn't what I wanted, but it was part of closure. It was part of closure.
And that's where she's buried.
Over the past year, Vogel and other detectives have interviewed more than a dozen people who knew Audrey Lee, with another trip out of state planned at the end of this month. There are new leads to follow.
We would love for somebody to look at these photos or look at the crime scene footage and recognize that area, or know somebody that frequented that area, and give us information.
In the place where Audrey was found, a cross for her, for Laura Miller, for Heidi Fye, who was dumped here 2 years before Audrey Lee, and for Donna Prudhomme, found 5 years later. The infamous killing fields off Calder Road.
Everybody talks about the killing fields, and it stretches along the I-45 corridor. Well, these are our 4 girls, and they're important to League City. They're important to us, and so I want to do everything that I can.
Shirley trusts deeply in Detective Vogel, who gave the Cooks closure and peace. But Shirley still gets emotional thinking about the killer still out there. Nothing Audrey did justified her end.
There are cruel people out there in this world that will do anything and have no respect for human life whatsoever.
None of these cases have been solved yet, but I'll keep reporting their stories, keep showing you what happened. They won't be forgotten. If you know anything about what happened to Hope Ann Moore, Princess Blue, or Audrey Lee Cook, contact police. Help these families. I'm Courtney Fisher, and this has been Unsolved.